Good morning. I am coming at you today from Bashfab. I'm up here, actually first time meeting Chad. He does all of your real cool stuff. Probably, I would say, from everybody I've talked to, the go-to guy kind of up here in South Carolina, up in this area. Even if you're up in Charlotte, North Carolina, you want to come see my man here. He does some great work. I am here today because you saw in the last video, I broke a ball joint or whatever up there, gulches. So I got some new upper control arms from Ironman 4x4 and I installed those. Went through all the process, which really, it's not hard. It's like 3 bolts so you can put them on. Super easy to do. Put it back on the ground, didn't help it. The old ball joints were just wasted trash. They were no good. So it's still a really good thing that I did that. However, it didn't cure what ails me. Looking and looking and looking, at this point, I'm pretty sure that pretty sure at this point that I bent the steering knuckle on the passenger side. It's the only thing I can kind of come up with. We took some measurements, looks like that got damaged. So I went ahead and ordered 2 brand new steering knuckles and I ordered a gusset kit from Total Chaos Fabrication. And we are going to get all of that welded on here today so I can bolt it all on the truck tomorrow. I also bought all new, I've replaced a couple of the tie rods in the last month or so and I replaced 1 bearing. So I got all new lower control arms. Of course, the new lower control arms come with new ball joints. They come with bushings and everything you'll need. And then I ordered all the rest of the components to have everything brand new and replaced under the front suspension. So I got the new tie rods, I got a new bearing and everything that we're gonna need. So tomorrow I can get under there, have everything replaced. Just thought, Janky's a little bit old, right? It's an 07, it's got 140 something thousand miles on it. And even though everything seems to be okay, like everything's just kind of on the edge of worn out. If I'm out here playing this game, might as well go ahead and replace everything. I didn't do anything crazy or super expensive, like a long travel kit or whatever. Just replace everything with factory level components because I don't really get that aggressive. I don't do bang your stuff up like this so much, right? Yeah, I mean, you watch my videos, you know I'm a bit of a sissy. So we're gonna go ahead and get this taken care of and get it all done. Okay, so at this point, it's all just kind of tacked in place up here. We haven't finished welded all of it, but it's whatever. It's ready to go over here. It's probably too hot. I probably don't want to touch it, like right there and right there and right there. But look at it. It's badass. I'm gonna have some strong parts and I'm excited. Look at that. Look at that. It's graffiti. He's graffitiing on my shit right now. Why would you do that? Why would you do that to me? Look at that. I'm not gonna touch it because it's all hot right there, but look at it. Those are some good looking welds right there. What are we, stacking dimes? Is that what I'm supposed to say? Yeah, that looks good. So much stronger now that it's all boxed in instead of just that one real super, like, that's about 42 feet long right there, I think. From there to there, it's about 42 feet. I didn't measure it, but I think that's how long it is. But now, it's awesome. up on the front side, and next time you see it, it'll probably be black and shiny. And there's Chad. Hey. So now that we're done, anything you want to tell the good folks about Bashfab and how fucking awesome you are?
Give me a minute.
He's gonna need a minute. There's so much awesome, he's got to filter through. So here we are. This is the man. This is Chad himself. Chad's not so much for being on camera, but you can see around the shop. He's got everything that you're gonna need. You should come see him. He does fantastic work. He makes bumpers, he makes sliders, kind of whatever you need. Apparently, he welds up total chaos gussets onto my broken spindles, right?
Signs, handrails.
See, he's got a sign that we can't see because the thing is folded over, but here we go. Whoop, we'll go that way. See, Bashfab, pulling that. Huh? How pimped out is that? You know you want one for your shop. Call my boy Chad. There's a link in the description down below. That's how you get a hold of him. He does fantastic work. I really enjoyed being here. Thank you so much for hooking me up on this.
Yeah, no problem.
And we'll get back and tomorrow, and I'll get the whole, well, you'll see the installation. Here we go. Ready? All right, so here I am. I am at home, and look, my new shop is done. So, new shop, old shop, kind of same shop. I just went in and I had the door opened up to a large 10-foot door, so I can pull the truck inside and I can work on this in the comfort of just, you know, a bare garage floor, as opposed to being out in the dirt, because nobody wants to work on the truck in the dirt, right? So I'm super excited about this. I can't tell you how excited I am to be able to pull the truck in and park inside and not have to worry about the stuff falling on it and whatever. And because I have my shop, I put a whole pulley system in here. You can see there's pulleys over there. And then up here, you can see I put pulleys, and I got so now the tent is mounted up on the ceiling above me. So I can now take the tent on and off Janky, super easy. Just pull it in, loosen the bolts, put the thing, whoop, it goes up. And now I have a place to store it. It's up there, it's awesome. And not only do I have a shop, but look, I have merch. I've got t-shirts. Yay! Took a really long time to come up with getting everything done and getting it right. I have a link in the description below as to where you can go to my shop. I've got a lot of different options or a lot of different designs, and I will keep coming up with more designs. Like, it doesn't cost me anything to add another design. So I'm gonna be working on that. This one, I don't know that I'm actually going to release this one because this is the driver shirt. So that one's, I think that one's just all for me, but I will have a crew shirt available. The guys that I roll with, that's kind of what that's what they requested. But I've got lots of different shirt designs with different designs on the front. Some of them have front and back, some just the front. We've got like cups, and we've got like, I don't know, like leggings for women. I don't know who wants that. Are there? Sweatshirts, all the stuff. It's so hot right now. Nobody needs a sweatshirt, right? But yay, we've got merch. Click on the link below. If you're crazy enough to want to wear a shirt with my name on it, then God bless you. Okay, so I changed my shirt because I don't want to get my nice shirt all messy and greasy and whatever. So right now I'm just going to get these things cleaned up so I can get a quick coat of paint on them so that they can be dry and ready to go when I'm ready to install the whole thing tomorrow. And now you can be so excited to watch paint. I don't know what that was. There was a very loud, large explosion somewhere in my neighborhood. I don't hear any screams. Okay, so now I have masked them off, like the parts that I don't want paint on them, I've got them masked off, and I used apparently the worst masking tape in the entire world. It doesn't stick to anything except my fingers, won't stick to the part, sticks to my fingers, great. And over up there you can see the world's dullest razor blade that wouldn't cut the masking tape. I don't know what we're doing here, but I got that, so now it's just time to shoot a little paint on them. Whatever, so I'm just using whatever black spray paint that I happen to have in my buckets over here. This doesn't have to be show quality, doesn't have to be perfect. I'm basically just doing this for rust prevention, just to make sure that they stay looking nice as time goes by. That's it, just to, you know, keep the rusted nastiness off them. They don't have to be shiny, they don't have to be perfect. It's suspension, nobody cares. I think that'll do for coat one. Black and sort of shiny. Yay! Well, good morning. It is now morning of day 2 of project replace all the suspension on Janky. So I got Janky in the shop. I've got all of my pieces and parts and tools collected over here. I think that's all the tools I'm gonna need except for maybe the axle nut that's in there. You can see that the spindles are all painted. Everything seems to have come out well. I had a little boo-boo in the paint right there last night because I'm kind of dumb, but not really worried about it. Not that worried about it because we're not building a show truck here. Like I say, the paint was going on there mostly for rust protection and whatever. Nobody's gonna be pulling the thing apart and going, oh, look how pretty this is. Nobody. So now I just need to get things rolling. I need to get Janky up in the air and get the tires off it and just start pulling things apart. So here we go. So this here, my assistant Bjorn, doesn't really help with a whole lot, but he does want that ball thrown all day. Like, you, we have to drop the ball. But he won't drop the ball. We'll drop the ball. Put it down. Drop that ball. Drop it. Drop the. All day with this. Drop the ball. Drop the ball. Yep. No. No. Touch it. Drop the ball. Drop it. Put it down. No. Piss off. Drop the ball. Drop the ball. Drop that ball. No, you drop. It's not gonna drop the ball. Okay, so if I can keep Bjorn out of here long enough. So here is what we are working on. Okay, you can see I've actually already installed the Iron Man upper arms. I put those in last week. I didn't actually make a video about replacing these, but it almost couldn't be easier. You take the ball joint out here, you can take this long bolt out up there, disconnect this from here, whoop, it comes out. Super easy. What we're taking out today is pretty much everything else, okay? So on the steering rack here, this has the inner tie rod attached to it, and this rod here screws into the outer tie rod, but this is part of the inner tie rod. So today, I already replaced this outer tie rod a month ago. I replaced the bearing on that side that same day about a month ago. And then when I did these upper control arms, I replaced the inner tie rod on the other side. So today, I'm gonna replace this inner tie rod, the outer tie rod on the passenger side. I'm gonna replace both of the lower control arms, and we're replacing the steering knuckles, and hopefully when we take the one out on the other side, I'll be able to see, oh, okay, take a look here, line these up with each other, and see exactly where it's bent. And if it's not bent there, then I don't, maybe it's the frame that got bent, I'm not sure, but we're gonna take this out. So I'm gonna get to working on this. To remove all of this, I'm gonna be leaving the upper control arm in place. I'm just gonna take the nut off right here for the upper ball joint, okay? and I'm just gonna swing this kind of up out of the way. It just needs to be out of the way, that's all it needs, okay? Then to get the rest of the knuckle off, I've got to disconnect this tie rod here, knock that out, take the strut free from the lower control arm, and then there's 2 bolts that come in underneath here that actually hold the ball joint. So I'm not going to be pulling the ball joint out of the knuckle because I don't need to separate the two. There's just 2 bolts that hold where the ball joint bolts up to. You just pop those out, super easy to do. And then to get the lower control arm out, you just take these bolts that go across here. I'm gonna have to take the skid plate out just to make sure that I've got room, make sure everything's good there. And then on this side, again, this comes out. Now you will see that there are cams on here. These are eccentrics so that your alignment shop can put things into alignment. In theory, you should probably try and put this back together with the cams in place fairly close to where they were before. My control arm bushings are fairly worn out, so the alignment isn't going to be perfect one way or another, but you just kind of want to take a look, just put it back together somewhere close, so when you take to the alignment shop, at least it's close, it makes their life easier. I got to pull this cap off right here because that's where the nut for the end of the axle is, so you've got to take that out, and then you've got to take the brake hardware off of the knuckle, but mostly it's a pretty easy job. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. We'll try and put the camera somewhere where you can see. I've got it all mostly pulled apart at this point. You can actually see the whole spindle because I've got the brakes off of here, whatever. I got this all out of here. I had to kind of wrestle with that a little bit. So the way you pull ball joints apart, or at least the appropriate way to do this, to pull the ball joints out, pull the tie rod out, to get these out of here, is you can see this big flat spot on here. Well, you take a hammer and you whack that, right? And you might... and you can see it popped out. You might have to whack it 3 or 4 times, but you can see that that actually releases this here. Don't hit the nut, don't hit this, don't hit the arm. You don't, I mean, you could get in with a pickle fork here, which you've seen a lot of people do, but that's gonna tear these boots up. The way these are designed, the stud that comes through here is actually tapered. It's smaller at the top than it is at the bottom, and so as you're striking this, it's kind of squeezing that, and since it's cone shaped, since it's tapered, as you squeeze it, it'll push it out. So you just strike, you'll always see there's kind of a smooth spot like you can see right there, like you can see up here, and you use that point with a nice good hammer. I've got up, I don't know how many pound sledge this is, just a little guy. Strike that there. Something else to keep in mind here is this is your ABS sensor. It has one screw that holds it in here, it goes in right there, like it actually goes into that hole, and the screw holds it. Be careful pulling these out. This is plastic, so this is fairly easy to break. Just take the screw out of there and it should actually rotate real easy. It's just actually pulling it out that's a little more difficult. So just kind of wiggle it a little bit, wiggle, 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 right? Kind of turn it. You can actually squirt a little bit of like WD-40 in there if you think that it helps. But just be careful when you take this out. You don't want to spend, I don't know what these things are, 40, 50, 60 bucks, maybe 10,000 because of the Toyota, who knows. You can see I've got the brake caliper just kind of zip tied up here so that the weight isn't penduluming. That's my word for the day, penduluming. So that the weight isn't supported by the rubber hose itself, right? So this is all up and safe and out of the way. And now to get the rest of the spindle out, I've got to pop this loose, which I just popped that loose. I can just take this nut off and this is going to come out of here. I got to pop that loose. So you can see these two bolts here, take those out, and then the spindle itself actually bolts to this little carrier, and this carrier holds the ball joint. So we don't have to separate the ball joint unless you're replacing it. So I'm just going to take these two bolts out here, and then all of this whole spindle will just come right out. Well, I'm not going to be able to get it apart today. Unfortunately, I had hoped. I work on a lot of hope, and I will try and save a lot of money because every man overland, right? I got a job like you. I'm not rich. I'm broke. So I've seen a lot of talk on the forums, and I've seen a lot of talk on Facebook and whatever of guys when they do this job, when they do these bushings and whatever, that they have a lot of trouble getting these bolts out right here. Okay, and you can see this one's out here. These are the adjustment bolts for the alignment. Here's kind of a closer up to it. You can see that this bolt actually goes through all the way, just through here and bolts in the other side. And then this has a little shank that spins, and this has an eccentric, and that allows the arm to move back and forth. And that's how they set your alignment, okay? Well, these sleeves, see that? They like to get rusted into the bushing. There's a steel collar that goes through the bushing, and these like to get rusted to that, making it kind of all weld itself together. And I had hoped, because this truck comes out of Texas. I bought it out of Houston, and a year and a half ago, whatever, when I bought it. And I haven't had a lot of trouble with rust in this truck. Well, I guess I can only get lucky so many times. So on this side, I got that one bolt out. On the back over here, this one is frozen solid, and I've been whacking on it and trying to get this out of here. And then on the driver's side, both of them are seized in. So I'm just gonna have to do like the old internet trick, and I'm just gonna have to take a Sawzall, and I'm gonna have to get in here. So I'm gonna have to get in here and get in here and cut those bolts so that the arm can fall out, and then I'll just install new bolts. I've already been on Amazon, and I went ahead and ordered myself a new set of bolts. They should be here Wednesday, so now I just gotta go buy a Sawzall and cut it out. You'd think I'd have a Sawzall, but I guess I just never needed one. Okay, so here I am. It is now day 3, 4, I don't know. I don't even care. But look, all the stuff I ordered from Amazon, it's all here. I got the saw, I got everything I need. It is now Tuesday. It was supposed to show up Wednesday, but it got here a day earlier, so yay, Amazon. I'm gonna get to work. All right, so what I have to do here is I have to cut this bolt that you can see sticking out, okay? I've got to cut it in here so that this arm can drop out, because this bolt that is run through here like this is actually rusted, frozen inside of deep down in here. So hopefully this is long enough. This blade is going to go in here like that, cut through the bolt there, and then move over here, cut through the bolt there, and we should be golden. Should. Maybe I should grab some safety glasses, and then let's rock this out. The saw worked, and it looks like I might be going through blades faster than I thought I was going to, but whatever. I ordered 6 of them. I got 3 bolts. I'm gonna be okay. So you can see it's gone. It's out of there now. And you can see that's the bolt that I had to cut through, and it's still hot. And now I'm gonna get all the new parts put into this side and start working on the other side. Super excited. Going back together. Woot. So this side is now done. You can see the big beefy spindle in there. I'm not gonna bend that. It's a little difficult getting all the way up in here and getting that tight and kind of getting the cotter pin back through it. I had to bend this bracket just a little bit to make it fit, just kind of whatever, hit it with the big hammer. Other than that, everything went together great. The new alignment bolts are in, the new control arms are in, new gusseted spindles. I've got, you know, upper control arms that were already in there, but we're still good. New bearings, new tie rods, new inner tie rods, everything new. Happy man. I mean, mostly happy man. I still gotta go do the other side, but I'll go do the other side and then we'll finish this up. Okay, so I don't know, day, nobody knows what day it is anymore, and to you it's all the same day, so it doesn't matter. Got everything done last night. Everything is put back together. So all that's left to do today is to put the tires back on, and then I am going to do kind of a backyard garage, very cursory alignment job on it, just trying to get to where things look like they're close and it's drivable. Here's how I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the truck out, kind of whatever, pull it out, set it back over here. So when you lift a vehicle off the ground and then you set it back down, when it sets down, it doesn't set all the way down into where its final resting place will be, because the tires are kind of sitting out, whatever, and you have to be able to drive it back and forth and jounce the suspension a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll just back it up and I'll kind of jounce the suspension off the edge here, you know, drive it forward and back a little bit and then pull it in, and then I'll just kind of eyeball it and take a look at are the tires cambered in or are they cambered out, and how's the toe sitting. And I'm going to, there's no way I can really set caster. Caster is a totally different measurement, and we can get into alignments at a different time, but I can't set caster by eye. But camber, we're just looking at, is the tire leaning out on the top, or is it, you know, is it out on the top, what's it doing? And that I can eyeball to a degree, right? I can look at it and like, oh, it looks like it's leaning in, it's like leaning out. I can use something that's, you know, like a square, and I can take a look at it, nah, it kind of looks this way. Or, I mean, you can use a string and a plumb bob, a string and a nut, whatever, and just hang something. But if the floor isn't level, then you're measuring versus gravity. You're not measuring versus the floor. So I usually like to try and use like a carpenter square or something like that, at least so I can just kind of eyeball it. And I'm gonna set the camber before I set the toe, because as I'm setting the camber, that's going to adjust the toe and will have to be compensated for. So you kind of sight down like the front and the back of the tire and look at where it's aiming versus the rear tire, and just kind of get it so it's close. I'll take it on the road and drive it, make sure it's not like completely turning to the right or the left or whatever. And then, probably the most important of all of this, I'm gonna put a Total Chaos sticker on the back of the window, because it doesn't add 10 horsepower until the sticker is on. We need all the power we can get. So let's go. Okay, so while this is certainly not an alignment machine, right? You just pulled a poster off the wall. Well, it's not gonna be perfect, but it's fairly close. It's touching the top of the tire. Bottom of the tire is about an inch away, right? So this is cambered out. So this has positive camber, which means the tire is leaning out at the top. Now let's take a look at the other side. This touches the bottom of the tire, and the top of the tire up here is about a ½ inch away. So this has negative camber. So I need to lean the top of this tire out, or more accurately, the adjustment all comes from the lower control arm. So I'm gonna need to move the lower control arm in on this one to get the tire stood straight up. And basically I'm just trying to go for about 0. I haven't looked at what the factory settings are on this, but the factory settings are always like, you know, 1/4 of an inch or 1/10 of an inch, or, you know, this and that. I'm not gonna be able to get that accurate. So I'm gonna try and go for just 100% straight up and down. So I need to move the bottom of the tire in about 1/4 of an inch, and over there I need to move it out about a ½ an inch. So let's go. Just about done. I had it all down, everything's good. Took it for a little test drive, and I could hear the brakes making a little bit of noise. And this is something else that I saw on Jay's truck when we did Jay's knuckles like this, is the backing plates for the brakes rub on the rotor. The backing plate now comes into touch with the knuckle. So I drove around the block a couple times to create some witness marks. So you can see right in here, it's real shiny. Got a shiny spot right there, and then it looks like a fairly clean spot right there. So just got to get in there with the hammer, smack those back to kind of reshape them a little bit so it doesn't touch the rotor anymore, bolt it back together, and we're good. So I'm calling this done. I'm calling it a win. I don't want to work on it anymore. The only question I have is I used the alignment bolts that I used in there, the shiny stuff. That's all from Moog, it's not from Toyota. And they don't seem to be holding real secure, so I may go to the dealer and just find out what it costs for new factory Toyota bolts and take them with me into the alignment shop and say, hey, put these in. I like the fact that these Moogs are greasable, but if they don't hold an alignment and it's just sliding all over the place, they're worthless, absolutely worthless. So we'll see where it ends up. And at the 80 bucks or whatever that I paid for them, they better be good. Always, you know, if you like the video, click that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe. It really helps the channel out. We're really trying to push this forward. Don't forget to look in the link below for the merch. We've got a selection. We don't have a huge selection, but we have a growing selection. And if there's something you guys want to see, oh, I want this logo on the front or back or whatever, if you wanted to say something, hit me up in the comments, and maybe I can get that done for you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.